So, what makes you think that Putin would be responsive to your Ukraine solution?
And before you jump in, Mr. Ramaswamy, I just want to ask you to remind the audience here what the solution is that he is referring to.
That's fair enough. So I've proposed, and thank you for coming prepared. I appreciate that. I've proposed a reasonable end to the Ukraine war. I don't think this war is advancing our interests. I think we're spending $200 billion of our taxpayer money that would be better used to defend our own border. But even worse, I believe it's increasing the risk of World War III because it's driving Russia further into China's hands. So what I've proposed is a reasonable deal that would allow Ukraine to come out with its sovereignty intact, yes, with some territorial concessions of the Russian-speaking regions in eastern Ukraine, and a hard commitment that NATO will not admit Ukraine to NATO, but only if Putin exits his military alliance with China. That Russia-China alliance is the top threat that we face today. So do I trust Vladimir Putin? Of course not. Is Putin a great craven dictator? Absolutely he is. But we will trust him to follow his self-interest, just as he will trust us to follow ours. And because you asked a good question, I'm going to go into this detail. Nixon did this in 1972. When he pulled Mao Zedong out of the USSR, that was a China-Russia alliance back then. Did we trust Mao? Of course we didn't. But there were kinks in that armor back then. There are kinks in that armor today in the Russia-China relationship. Look, when Putin and Xi Jinping met, Putin sends then weapons to India and Vietnam. That's sending a signal to China. China doesn't appreciate that. China wants to complete a railroad in northeast China to the ocean. Russia's not letting them. So if we look closely, there are kinks in that armor. But it's going to take a visionary leader who's going to say, we're going to use the Ukraine war as an opportunity to say to Russia, you know what, we'll reopen some economic relations with Russia, as Nixon did with Mao.